Well, hello. So I found a pretty cool video that, I don't know, looks like you could probably take this video and take it out of a Lemurian context, kind of put it in context with any kind of ancient junk DNA or memories and all of this shit. I feel like, I don't know, it was the timing of everything. You know, had a couple of videos there where I was really just fucking aggressive. Just felt really like a lot of shit happened leading up to that 8 Lionsgate shit. And then, you know, just really had me motherfucking Klaus Schwab and, you know, his whole family. And, you know, I just felt like there was just a lot of shit going on. And then I started zeroing in on Israel and Hawaii, going, what in the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? And then it was the next second I found out that Hawaii was, you know, on fire, and then found out after that that's where my family's from. Really, the timing. And yeah, I just feel like this video is pretty interesting.
Aloha and welcome to another live broadcast, streaming to you live from Lemuria. My name's David. Thanks for being here with me. Today...
Oh wait, before we even get started into this like 13-minute video, Kauai is supposedly the like remains of Lemuria, and Mark Zuckerberg, he owns how much of it? That is so infuriating, actually, when you look at it. And today is August 25th. Why doesn't everybody start really paying attention to things that happen on or around September 25th? And then if you want to go back and look at the no separation of church and state, actually, and you see all of these world meetings and all of these things going down, government and, you know, Vatican-wise, and all of these things very coincidentally line up with September 25th, which is the Jewish New Year. And, you know, the timeline start pretty much of, you know, their shit, literally. It's pretty interesting.
Today I wanted to talk a little bit about DNA, and more specifically about Lemurian DNA. Recently I've been talking about and teaching about Lemurian DNA in private, and my guides have been nudging me, suggesting that it's time to start talking about it more publicly because there is interest out there. So today I just wanted to introduce the subject and share some of my initial thoughts and beliefs about Lemurian DNA. As always, when I'm talking about all things Lemurian, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to talk you into anything. I'm simply sharing my understandings from my own work with my guides and councils, but also my own experience in doing Lemurian healing, teaching Lemurian healing. So here are just some basic ideas about Lemurian DNA. And before we talk about Lemurian DNA, I just want to talk for a moment about regular physical DNA. When I was a kid, this is what we were taught about DNA, that it's a complex molecule that makes up your chromosomes, and your chromosomes, which are organized and segmented into genes, your chromosomes essentially determine who you are and what you can do. And so the sense, when I remember being taught this, the sense was, okay, your DNA controls everything, and you are limited by your DNA. That was a long time ago. Thankfully, biological science and research has come a long way. And now we understand that what used to be called junk DNA, just because scientists had no idea what function these huge pieces of DNA had, we now understand that parts of our DNA, genes, are being turned on and off primarily by the vibration of our thoughts and emotions. So more so than what you eat or your environment, the energy of your thoughts, the vibration of your emotions affect your DNA more than anything. So you've been turning on and off parts of your DNA your entire life without being conscious of it. Now,
yeah, normal people don't see a problem with the mental health crisis if this is the shit that people are going through and don't realize it. And then they're not getting help spiritually like they need, and they're not getting support from their loved ones. It's actually bullshit. And it's funny that there are scientists out here talking about this exact thing, and people having the ability to turn on and off certain strands of DNA and such. Kinda like David Icke started talking about in the 90s about these reptilians. That poor guy.
In Lemurian times, we didn't talk about the chemical substance or the molecules that made up this information, which is stored in each and every cell in your body. We simply referred to it as your codes or your potential, knowing that this is potential that you brought with you into this lifetime. So here's my favorite analogy. And for those of you that have been watching me or working with me for a while, you know I love my analogies. Imagine that you're packing for a long vacation. Let's say you're packing for a month-long trip to come here to Hawaii. Well, looking at all the things that you want to do during this trip, during this vacation, you would pack what you think you might need. And no matter how smart you are, how much foresight you think you have, you're always going to bring things that you're going to end up not needing. Like you might not need 4 or 5 fancy outfits because you realize that, okay, Hawaii's not such a fancy place, that, that fancy dress, really no occasion to use it here. You might bring rain gear and an umbrella or waterproof shoes and realize, oh, the weather was awesome. I didn't need to use this at all. I didn't need to use these things at all. So in a similar way, your DNA is what you pack for a lifetime. So as your higher self, you plan a lifetime, you create a plan, you know where you're going, when you're going to arrive, what family you're going to be born into. And your DNA, at least your plan, you pack. Your DNA is what you pack for this lifetime based on what you think you might want to do. And you always bring way more DNA than you'll need. And this is where we can expand the conversation beyond the physical DNA, because obviously you inherit your physical DNA from your parents, 23 chromosomes each, and they merge together and you become a unique product of the marriage of those two sets of DNA, of those two sets of chromosomes. So that's your physical DNA. But part of your plan, part of your packing ritual for a lifetime is to bring a bunch of non-physical DNA with you. So you have 2 physical strands of DNA, that complex double helix molecule that makes up your physical DNA. You have 2 physical strands. You also have non-physical strands of DNA. And again, this is potential. This is potential that you brought with you, not necessarily going to be using or accessing all of it, but you brought what you thought you might need into this lifetime. If you have any kind of connection with Lemuria, I would be I'm not going to say 100%, but if you feel a connection with Lemuria, it is highly likely that you've had lifetimes in Lemuria. And if you've had lifetimes in Lemuria and you're here now in physical form, you absolutely pack some non-physical DNA for this human journey, because you knew that this was a magical time in human evolution, and that you wanted to be prepared. And because you had had lifetimes in a place like Lemuria, which was high vibrating, much higher dimension than we live in currently. It was a higher vibrating environment. We were telepathic. We were heart-centered. It was a society based on love. Compared to what we consider to be clairvoyant or psychic abilities, in Lemuria, they were way off the chart of what we would consider awakened and full abilities in this lifetime. So there were a lot of abilities that we had in Lemuria, and we knew what it was like to live in that higher dimension, those higher frequencies, and we knew what it was like to live in a society based in love. So coming into this human lifetime, of course we would pack some of that potential, knowing that this is a significant evolutionary phase in the human journey. We wanted to be there in physical form, so we all wanted to bring that wisdom with us. So you have Lemurian DNA, Lemurian potential within you, within every cell of your body. And without realizing it, you've been turning that on and off as well, especially if you're consciously on a spiritual path, meaning you become interested in spiritual topics, or the word Lemuria triggered something within you at whatever age, and you've been consciously pursuing growing awareness and expanding your consciousness and learning about spiritual and metaphysical things. As you've been going through that journey, you've been turning on parts of your DNA, both physical and non-physical. But once you understand and recognize that you have this Lemurian wisdom within you, you can start consciously working with it. That's the good news, just being aware of it. So you think about the abilities and capabilities and wisdom and knowledge that you gathered during your Lemurian lifetimes, whether that was for healing or shape-shifting or flying or interacting with crystals or the non-physical realms, whatever it is, whatever you can imagine or remember about your experience in Lemuria, you've brought a lot of that potential with you into this lifetime. And just knowing it's there, you can start to talk to your cells, talk to your DNA, interact with your higher self in meditation and say, okay, help me understand what I brought with you. What did I pack to bring with me into this lifetime that I can access and use? And as you consciously start doing that, you can start awakening amazing abilities. And I was sharing this with someone, actually a small group over the weekend, that one of the symptoms, I'm going to say it's the symptoms, but no, one of the indications that you are awakening this non-physical DNA is as you grow and learn spiritually, you become less and less dependent on getting information outside of you, whether it's from books or videos like this or workshops, private sessions, whatever it is. As you grow spiritually and awaken these parts of your non-physical DNA, you'll be more comfortable finding your own answers. You'll be more comfortable accessing the wisdom and knowledge that you brought with you that is part of who you are in your higher self. And you won't necessarily need to keep having someone else tell you, oh, you had lifetimes in Lemuria, or you come from the elven realms, or you were a dragon in a lifetime. You're going to start to access that more and trust that inner knowing, that inner wisdom more. So I'm not saying that the one is better than the other or one is ideal. It's just that's one of the indications that you can recognize in your own growth, in your own journey, that wow, I am turning on parts of my larger non-physical self, because I'm getting my own answers. I'm trusting the wisdom within my own heart, my higher self. So it becomes very exciting as you do this journey. But it's always nice, of course. I still love getting confirmation about messages or information I receive, or experiences that I have that maybe I don't talk about with other people, but then I get some confirmation like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one with that experience. It's always good to get confirmation. It's also good to know that you're becoming a sovereign being, in the sense that you can trust your own light and your own wisdom, and everything that you've gathered over a myriad of lifetimes in all sorts of star systems and dimensions and situations. So your Lemurian DNA is there. You can access it, you can talk to it, and you can start to discover what you packed for this awesome human vacation. Those are the basic ideas I wanted to share today. I would love to hear from you.
So it just looks like that's probably why they didn't want a bunch of mixed breed mudbloods running around, because while I see an awful lot of people out here pure-blooded thinking funny things, you know, like being pure-blooded versus mixed race, like nobody gives a shit. We're all just little pieces of spirit here running around in cars that look different. And it's so stupid. But yeah, I definitely think that you better watch out for the fucking mudbloods, because I think that people like myself who have come into this game with some good cards genetically to have at my disposal, it's pretty cool shit. Yeah, I recommend, this guy, I recommend anybody look at anybody you fucking want. People receive information differently, and there's a lot to go over, so toodles.